This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1115, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, Tennessee, artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What's happening?
Right there down the road, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And from LA, he's back. It's Marty.
Hey.
No.
No, I was like a stutter. I thought I was trying different ones every episode.
Sounds gross.
I'm unsettled.
We have a great show in store for you today. Coming up later, we talk to Julie Chen Moonves. For those of you who are Big Brother fans or fans of the talk from the 2010s, you know Julie. Did you know she has been hosting Big Brother since the first episode in July of 2000?
Yeah, I do know.
Yeah.
What's her name? What's the show? Big Brother? I've never seen that show.
Big Brother. Yeah.
Oh, I think you would love it.
Loves it.
It's a fun one.
I heard it was great.
It's just a bunch of people getting in a house together for like a summer and doing little like challenges and stuff. But like, it's like Survivor, but
in a
bougie.
house.
Okay, you know what though? But there's an actual show on Netflix that is literally Survivor combined with Big Brother, and it's called Surviving Paradise. And I just watched it, and it's literally like these 20-somethings that are plopped into. There's this luxury villa. Somebody's going to win a couple $100,000, and you're voted in and out of the luxury villa, and the people who voted out have to go survive in the jungle.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And then you get opportunities to get back into the villa, and you have to be part of the villa crew to ultimately win the $200,000. So it's all about alliances and stuff. It's actually a really good show if you watch. It's like really a merging of all these other competition alliance shows that are out there.
It's a great show. Big Brother.
All right. So Julie Chen's not the host of that, but she is joining us. Why is she joining us other than just being famous? She has a new book that she told about a radical salvation experience she has. She's now a believer, and she's talking about her life transformation, and we want to talk to her about that. So there you go.
That's cool.
At the end of the show, we have Epic Battle coming up. It's a fall-themed edition, so I want to get to that for sure. We have slices and stuff. But before we get going, Jesse, I wanted to ask you, following up on last week's show, how did Dana enjoy being the seagull? And have you seen videos? And do you feel she did a good job?
I feel like she did a great job. As people know, last week, it was the elementary school was looking for volunteers to be the seagull mascot for the Booster-thon. I was asked by the security guard I was told they have a last minute opening and that I could fill that opening, but I told them no because it conflicted with podcast recording time. So I had to decline being the seagull, but they had an opening during the podcast recording. I got a text from my wife, Dana, that said, guess what? I'm going to be the seagull. Now I was outraged by this because I felt like they asked me first, and they should have found another time for me. But directly after the podcast, I walked over to the school, and I was like, "All right, I'm going to support. I'm a supportive husband, and I'm going to see her. Yeah, I'm going to see her in the seagull.
Are the seagull.
I dig it. I dig it.
So heavy. I rode my. And I texted you guys some photos and videos after this, but I rode my bike up there right after the pod. And I see her in the seagull
Jesse
costume.
Carey rode his bike to the elementary school.
I rode my bike up there, yeah.
I rode my bike to see the seagull at the elementary school.
Honestly, it was faster than driving. You got to park a mile away. And I see her in the middle of the field surrounded by people with the national anthem playing and a large American flag. And she has her hand over her heart, saluting the American flag. I'm not going to lie, it felt kind of weird and irreverent. I'm not big on nationalism, but it felt like you probably should. I don't know if the seagull should be leading the pledge in costume, but she did, and she did a fine job dancing and getting everyone excited. She did a great job. But fast forward,
I smell a little hate. I smell a little hater.
A little
hater.
There's
no hater. There's no hater.
hater.
It's jealousy, but I wouldn't call it hate. But I will say this: the next day we show up to a neighborhood Halloween party. Okay.
Yeah.
So we show up. By the way, I wasn't planning on being in costume, and at my son loves Patrick Mahomes, so he has a bunch of Kansas City Chiefs gear. So guess who was a very last minute Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. There were 4 other Travis Kelces at this party, which was very awkward, and they all were dressed better than me. Again, not hating, but as we're walking into the party, another guy comes, crossing paths with us. And he looks at Dana, and I know this guy a little bit, but not really. And he goes, good news. I don't think we got ringworm. And I'm like, what? Evidently, he was the mascot earlier that day, and there was a ringworm scare. There was a ringworm scare.
Wait a second.
Yo, this is a lot, guys.
And I was like, whoa, hold on.
Wait a second.
This is a lot.
The seagull costume had a ringworm scare? No one was telling me this. They were going to let me suit up. Knowing
They asked you to suit up.
That they asked me knowing that there was a ringworm scare that they weren't informing people about.
Wow. I don't even know. How do you even get ringworm? I thought that was exterminated.
The old seagull
it's like athlete's foot. It's pretty much
I thought it was exterminated. I thought it's like the Black Plague. I didn't think
polio,
that people were just gonna.
No, it's still around.
Like legs
still
were
alive and
leprosy.
kicking.
No, I got
There's
kids.
still
It's
leprosy,
around.
Marty.
And guess what? Now it makes a whole lot of sense why they needed last-minute replacements for that mascot. Luckily, everyone was ringworm free, and so
Good news.
The ringworm scare is hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. That is an awkward way to enter a Halloween party. Moving the show along. Stay tuned. Up next, it's Slices. You're listening to Video Age. The song is Just Think. Well, today's show is brought to you by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. And right now, they have a great deal for Relevant Podcast listeners. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Even though the fall can feel jam-packed, HelloFresh makes whipping up a home-cooked dinner actually doable with quick and easy options, including their 15-minute meals. It's less time than it takes to go get delivery, y'all. Also, you can turn to HelloFresh Market for yummy add-ons and enjoy the season's limited-time fall flavors lineup. Feast on desserts like apple cider cake with caramel sauce, or please a crowd with appetizers like the barbecue pulled pork nachos. Don't forget the mini pumpkin cheesecake. I've been using HelloFresh for years. I've been a subscriber. I love it. It's a great way to create delicious meals at home. And right now, Relevant listeners can get 50% off plus free shipping. Go to HelloFresh.com/50relevant, 50relevant, and use code 50relevant for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, go to HelloFresh.com/50relevant and use code 50relevant for 50% off plus free shipping. Okay, it's time for Slices. What do you have, Jesse?
All right. This was going around. A lot of people on TikTok were really confused this week. People were sharing that they couldn't find the seahorse emoji in their collection of emojis. Now, how many of you guys remember ever receiving or sending an emoji of a seahorse?
I have sent an emoji of a seahorse.
Why? What was the context?
Why would you send
I used to just like send random emojis that had nothing to do with the tag. I just thought that was funny.
Well, here's the thing, Emily, and several tens of thousands of TikTokers. The seahorse emoji has never existed. And it is an example of the Mandela effect. Because like Emily, there are thousands and thousands of people who have sworn that they have sent a seagull before.
Wait, seagull or seahorse?
I'm sorry, seahorse. And they are certain that there was a seahorse, but it has never existed. Now, like I said, this is an example of what they call the Mandela effect, which is a collective memory that a lot of people have of things that just don't exist. So a couple other examples are, a lot of people swear the Monopoly man has a monocle. He doesn't and never has. A lot of people remember Curious George having a tail. Curious George has never had a tail. Another example is, really? You guys remember that when Sinbad was in that genie movie?
Yeah. I remember that one.
He was
never in a genie movie. Right. He was never in a genie movie. It's a collective mismemory just like the seahorse emoji.
You know what, though? You know where I think it's from, though? Okay, hear me out. Around the same time that we were enjoying Monopoly, we were enjoying other things. And when they'd make fun of those things, they would have the pieces. So, for instance, right on Ace Ventura, and the guy had the little monocle, and he's like, look, it's the Monopoly guy. And then people made that into like a rolling joke. So I almost feel like it was us, our own contributions in the generation, making people assume.
Okay, wait, I do want to clarify.
I don't know.
This seahorse emoji is only on Slack, which at my old job I did use. So I think that's where I'm thinking of, like, on iOS, like iPhone, it doesn't have that emoji, which is dumb. It should definitely have a seahorse emoji. Mandela effects always like send me into like a spiral or a crisis, because it's just like everything. I start questioning everything I've ever thought.
Why is it called the Mandela? It has nothing to do with Nelson, right?
No, it does.
Yeah, it does because there was a collective. A lot of people have a distinct memory of Nelson Mandela dying, and it was at a time before he
was dead.
Died.
Before he died. But it was a collective mismemory.
Oh, I feel like we all got quiet for a second because we all were looking respectively in our own like Mandela, like what's going on here? Like, is this real? Like, we're all like got quiet on the podcast because we're all like researching what you're saying. Wow.
Yeah. It's funny. All right, Slices. What do you have, Derek?
So we all know about global warming, right? We know about, CO2, things like that are messing up the Earth's atmosphere. But here's another thing that we have to be concerned about. It's salt. Apparently, the Earth is becoming more salty, and it's messing with our freshwater supply. So one of the main reasons for the Flint, from what they say, the water turning brown in that area is because of the saltiness. I guess that's what the water filtration plants are supposed to be helping us with, is getting sodium out of our water. So the Earth is becoming more and more salty, and it's starting to affect our fresh water. So they say that it's not one of those things that's like sexy, like a meteor or global warming, but they said this is a real, actual issue. No one's talking about it. And
what's the solution? What do we do?
Cook more steak, salt.
Sure.
I don't know.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I don't even know how to fix the saltiness.
Is this why people are probably saltier and pettier now?
Very much so. But yeah, he doesn't. There's no clear. They just said it's just basic human activity. Just we're doing so much stuff.
Activity. We then sweat saltiness, and then it evaporates into the air, goes into the fresh water. That's it. Because there's more people now.
I don't know, but apparently there's a salt cycle that none of us knew about.
Wow.
And our salt cycle has been increased.
I mean, someone's going to get rich inventing the thing that fixes it.
Jesse, I know that it was on the last show. Yeah, they have desalination plants and desalinators and stuff. It was on the last show about your common sense party, but low sodium water is what you should add to your platform.
Common sense, man. Let's start with the easy stuff.
All right. What do you have, Marty?
All right. So I got a good one. Netflix ad-supported plan will reward binge watchers with an ad-free episode. So if you watch 3 episodes in a row, they'll give you 1 free episode with no ads on it, just to continue to get you glued to your seat. They want to start rewarding people who watch Netflix and binge Netflix to stay there longer in your seat. So that's the goal. The prices are going higher, so people are complaining about that. Here's the thing about the prices going higher for Netflix. If all of us, we went to Blockbuster as when you'd rent movies at Blockbuster, sometimes the bill was like $30, $40. You'd rent like for a video game and like 2 movies. So really, if you think about it, the premium rate is only $22. That's like a movie a month, but we're complaining about that, I guess, because 2 years ago it was $10. But right now there's about 15 million people who have the ad account for Netflix, and about 5 million who don't. So they're just trying to increase you to sit down in your seat and watch. What's the soccer player one? I was just watching that
Beckham?
one. Yeah, I was watching that.
So
It was great.
good.
So they want me to stick.
Wait, guys, I watched the
watching
sports
that. And the
documentary.
Getting Guy one. Yeah, I love that one. I actually really appreciated. Netflix has been coming out with some good stuff. They even added the Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah.
I feel like they've needed some heat recently because I feel like HBO Max has been killing it, in my opinion. They got the Barbie movie. They got so much good stuff going on. I don't know if Christians are revolting about that right now. I don't know what's going on with that, but the Barbie movie was pretty good. Gotta say, pretty good.
It was.
Emily, why did you watch Beckham? Was it, be honest, was it because of Posh Spice?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I sat through
So
4
you didn't watch a
episodes
sports
of the Beckham documentary.
You watched a Posh Spice documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it was
Emily,
sort of about their relationship too, just in general. But like, I played soccer when I was a kid, so I liked it enough. I will say, if they did less sports stuff and more of the relationship,
more about Spice
wouldn't
Girls.
be upset. But it was good. Everyone should watch it.
Emily, I'm gonna be totally honest. I didn't expect to read this slice today. I thought we were gonna talk about how Taylor Swift sold 1.5 million copies of 1989 Taylor's edition first week, and how that is insanely incredible.
Yeah, she
I thought
broke her own
that was
record.
gonna be. The records were blown
crazy.
back in 2000. So now she's blowing record. Like, it was a big, I think the last album that did that was 50 Cent The Massacre. And so that was like 2003, and no one else has ever done that since then. And Taylor Swift is blowing that record, and she saved the vinyl industry. I just thought that was going to be a part of the slices today, but I got the Netflix ad supported plan.
I'll say, if it was up to me, every slice would have been about Taylor's 1989 version.
Oh, okay.
Every day at staff meeting, we get the latest Taylor Swift updates. So
You're welcome.
I got it.
fully saturated on that information. All right, that'll do it for
Slices.
Stay tuned. Up next, Julie Chen Moonves joins us.
Cause it ain't my turn to bring you around. No, it's paranoia. Who you fooling with your karma and your open mind? Spill your matter on the corner between love and pride. Who's gonna set you?
You're listening to Sifo. The song is Paranoia. Well, today's podcast is brought to you in part by Medical Teams International. It's an incredible faith-inspired organization that's doing amazing work around the world. Right now, they're sending life-saving care to people affected by the conflict in Sudan. It's fallen out of the news cycle, but we have the power to remind the Sudanese people that they haven't been forgotten. You can be one of the compassionate, open-hearted people who lends a helping hand to the Sudanese. Send life-saving care to them at medicalteams.org/relevant. Again, that's medicalteams.org/relevant. Well, today's podcast is brought to you in part by Odyssey Impact. Are you a faith leader interested in social justice? Join Odyssey Impact's national social impact campaigns to download free resources and be a catalyst for change. They offer award-winning films and custom-created resources to help you plan impactful events focused on racial justice, community healing, reconciliation, and more. By raising awareness, shifting attitudes, and inspiring action, they're driving meaningful campaigns that make a real difference. Host an event in your community or house of worship. Learn more at odyssey-impact.org. Again, that's odyssey-impact.org. Where our guest today is Julie Chen Moonves. She's the host of Big Brother and a former co-host of The Talk. Back in 2018, at age 48, she began her relationship with God, and since then has been outspoken about her faith, even releasing a memoir recently titled, But First, God. She sat down with us to talk about her spiritual transformation and how her life is radically different today. Here's our conversation with Julie Chen Moonves.
You just released a memoir about your spiritual journey. So why do you feel like now is the time to talk about it?
Well, it's funny because it wasn't my idea to do this at all. The way it came about was that I decided during the pandemic, when it first started, in 2020, because I was about a year plus into my walk with God, that I wanted to read from cover to cover all 66 books in the Bible. And I found that very daunting. So I thought, well, I can listen to it. And I couldn't find a version that I found easy to digest. And all the versions that I had heard, whether they were the King James Version or not, it sounded like Shakespeare. So I called Simon & Schuster because in 2018, I wrote a children's book called When I Grow Up, dedicated to my son, who was born in 2009. Who knew how long books take to get published? It was written for his age group when we started, and he grew out of it by the time it came out. But so I had contacts at Simon & Schuster, and I emailed my contacts saying that I wanted to offer my services for free, where I would read an audio version of the New International Version of the Bible. And I thought, well, then I'll also, selfishly, I'll accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And they weren't interested in that, but in telling them why I wanted to do it, they offered me this opportunity to tell about my personal spiritual walk. And I didn't think anybody would be interested. And I was like, really? You think so? They said, yeah, you have everybody has an interesting, faith walk. And whether or not people realize it, they're on a faith walk. They may not know it, they may not acknowledge it. So that's how it came about. And then I went into it a little bit unsure, but I came out of it thinking oh, this is just the beginning. There's so much more to say. This is just where I am right now. Because I'm 5 years into my walk with Jesus, and I would say, so I'm probably an elementary school person. I started out crawling, learning how to walk. So I'm probably I don't know, a third grader right now. I have so much, more to go. And I was really hoping the time now, it was divine timing because coming out of the pandemic, it was such a shaky time in history for all of us, especially as a nation. It wasn't just COVID, but it was, a very tense election and Black Lives Matter. There was so much division going on. And I thought, we need to find common ground. We need unity. We need God. And I want everyone to know that if you feel hopeless, you need not to, because God is there. But you got to take the first step towards him. And that's my life verse, James 4:8. Draw near to God and he will draw nearer to you. So this is the right time, because I think the pandemic gave us all time to reevaluate our lives, to really look at how we're living, and to see, and to say to ourselves, is this the way I want to be living? And what is my purpose? So I found, this is my purpose.
Well, sort of taking it back a step, what led you to your faith in the first place?
It was, my life was very busy bee, and it looked like a very glamorous life. I had my dream job, my dream husband, a dream kid, and 2 dream jobs. And I lost my main job. I was forced out from my job at The Talk, where I was a co-host and the moderator for the last 8 years of my life. And it was a fun job. And when I lost that job and I was forced to step down, life as I knew it, it was like a snow globe, but it turned upside down. And that made me go through a ball of emotions. there was a lot of anger. There was fear of, what's going to become of me, my future, who am I, identity crisis, because I was so wrapped in my identity as a broadcaster. So I felt lost. And that was the perfect time. It was the perfect storm to look up instead of keeping my focus around things here on the earth and focusing up at him. But it was really an email I got from my aunt, who is a born-again Christian. She and my uncle, my aunt and uncle became born-again Christians in the 90s when my uncle survived cancer. Fast forward to 2001, he's a 9/11 survivor who was in the North Tower when it got hit. And they're still with us today. And my aunt, and this is my favorite aunt, she saw what was happening to me, and she sent me an email, and she said that her friend from their church in New Jersey, who I'd never met, was praying for me, and God told this friend of hers that I needed to learn about the gospel and I needed to be told about Jesus. So this friend said, you need to tell your niece about the gospel. And in this email, my aunt said, if you've noticed, I've never tried to push my faith on anyone in our very large family. And, but she was just being a messenger, right? And I had been thinking about going to church for a few months, but, because that was a tumultuous summer leading up to that September when I was forced out of the talk. And I said, I'm going to go. That email spoke to me and touched my heart. So it was a Thursday morning, and I dropped my son off at school, and I went into this church near my house that I had driven past a million times. No one was in there. It was 8:40, and I don't know how often church doors are unlocked at 8:40 with no one in there, but some candles were lit, and I went in, and I just broke down and got down into a pew and on my knees, and I just was sobbing and asking God to help me and to show me why this was happening to me, and to show me some light and some love and some hope. And that's when I really started to pay attention to him, acknowledge him.
Okay, well, now that the story is out there, what do you hope people take away from it?
I hope that they are, they're not intimidated. There is no right or wrong way to pray. You just got to start doing it. It's just communicating with God. You do it when you're driving. You do it in your head. You can do it when you have insomnia. You can do it when you wake up in the morning. And when you're talking to yourself and you think, oh yeah, I started talking to myself, or I talk to myself all the time, you're not talking to yourself. You're actually talking to God. Okay, he's always listening. I want people to know it's never too late, that he is our only true source of hope, that if you want to live with hope and positivity, you need to invite God into your life, and you really need to spend quiet time with him. You need to sit still. That's when you can hear him. And to study his word. And it's a journey that once you get on the track, it never ends. It only brings us home. And each day, when you grow closer to God and feel his presence, you will have more and more peace. That is the constant hum in your life. There will be ups and downs. There will still be, stumbling blocks. But when that happens, you're going to have hope, and you're going to know that God is going to get you through it, and that you are not alone. And he either allowed it or ordained it, and you have to grow stronger from that, with his help guiding you, holding your hand. So that's what I want people to take away. It's never too late, and have your own personal relationship with him. It's the best relationship you're ever going to have. God can't do everything, and we should be thankful he can't do everything. He cannot lie. He cannot break a promise. He cannot be untrue. He cannot be unfaithful. So all those things that God cannot do, hallelujah. Thank God he can't. He is so faithful. He'll be your best friend.
That was Julie Chen Moonves. Make sure to check out her new memoir. It's called But First, God. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's Epic Battle.
I am waiting on the other side. Looked out into everything and I tell myself it's nothing when it's quite right. Everything grew stronger in the light.
You're listening to Future Islands. The song is The Tower. Well, today's podcast is brought to you in part by Tyndale Publishers' new book, Trailblazers. We all want our lives to count for something. We desperately want to know if we matter, what our purpose is, and if it's okay to chase a dream bigger than ourselves. In his new book, Trailblazers, Pastor Micah E. Davis shares how a life built on a solid foundation of faith can lead us to blaze a new trail, a unique one God has purposed for us. Grab a copy of Trailblazers at your favorite book retailer today. Okay, it's time for
Epic Battle.
if you don't know this game, it is basically our attempt to once and for all solve the internet debates. People are saying who's better, the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles, or who's better, Superman or Wonder Woman. All the junk, all y'all nerds debating stuff all day long. What we're doing is we're settling it once and for all. We're going to do it in teams. We're going to do it debate style, and we're going to pick a winner and move on. Settle it once and for all. Here we go. So the teams are going to be Jesse and Derek versus Emily and Marty. I need some team names. Jesse and Derek, what's your team name?
Common Sense Party. I think that's
obviously common sense. Common sense right there.
Ours is good. What's that on your shirt, Emily? The First Baptist, the Colony? That's what we're going to be.
This is my
First
childhood
Baptist
church.
Colony? First Baptist Church Colony? The Colony?
Church Colony. That's our name right now.
That's a crazy name for you.
The city
First
I grew up
Baptist.
in was called the Colony. So
okay.
that's why. But yeah,
Okay.
we can be
us.
FBC the Colony.
That's a crazy name.
Go First Baptist, baby.
All right, so moving it along. Round one. Common Sense Party, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. First Baptist Church Colony, you have the U.S. House of Representatives. Who would be better? Who would win in an escape room? That's what we're going to figure out right here, right now. You're up first, Common Sense Party. Tell us why the Kansas City Chiefs would be better.
Is Taylor Swift with the Chiefs?
She's
or
not part of the Kansas City Chiefs. She's a fan.
Kind of.
Okay.
She's kind of.
So Kansas City Chiefs, Common Sense Party, tell us why they'd be better than the U.S. House of Representatives at getting out of an escape room.
I got to be honest. I feel like it's a very low bar because getting an escape room, I've never done one, but from my understanding, it's all about teamwork. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, but you could take any team. You could take a Pee-wee football team. You could take the most dysfunctional team, high school team with the most locker room drama, and they would have more camaraderie than the U.S. House of Representatives. Like, that is teamwork versus anti-teamwork. Derek, I feel like this is pretty easy, right?
I rest my case.
All right. First Baptist Church Colony. Why would the U.S. House of Representatives be better at getting out of an escape
They wouldn't
room?
be better. Let's just be honest. They wouldn't be better. They would be absolutely. Well, as I Google the House of Representatives, I'm like, this is dead.
There's 400
that's
minds.
the
They went
issue.
to
They can't
Ivy
even
League
put
schools.
one piece of legislation through. I mean, you got to understand who
Oh my
is.
God, I'm on an island by myself. Okay, they could pull through every now and every
if it cut taxes for the rich, they could definitely do it. I
Every
agree
blue
with you.
moon,
Yes.
there's like a bipartisan issue that they can agree on. I think they would agree on wanting to get out of an escape room. Yeah, there's like 400 minds that are putting together. Surely one of them works well. Hopefully.
I just don't think anyone would lead Emily. I feel like unless it.
Did they, Marty?
Maybe if it had an NRA tax break that they would do it. I don't know.
Okay, I will say escape room is not just about like, it is about teamwork, yes, but there is also like a mental aspect to it. You have to be able to like solve riddles and stuff.
These people went to Yale and stuff.
Yeah, and so that's
They won
the
elections.
There's at least
That's the issue.
There's at least a few of them that do puzzles. No offense to the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think they're going to be great at the mind game part of the escape room.
They do strategy for a living. That's what football is, all strategy.
I think the older
Football
members
is
would be
literally
better.
all strategy. It's
The
just
older
strategy.
members
That's
would
what
be
it is.
better. They can't even put one piece of legislation through. So the truth is, some of the older puzzle, like Emily said, the people who play puzzles on their free time, they're the ones who we're going to look to, like an older gray.
Emily, I'm sorry, but as a Swiftie, I don't mean to be that. I don't mean to mansplain
Pause. Can we talk
football,
about Jesse identifying as a Swiftie?
As a Swiftie, I
Oh,
like
the
no,
first
I'm
time
saying,
I've ever
I'm
even
saying
heard you even-
as you being a Swiftie and watching and
That's
being
the opposite of what you
invested
said.
in the success
Yeah, I
of
thought
the
it was-
Kansas City Chiefs. I do take some football is a moving puzzle, and the consequences for solving it incorrectly is physical violence. Like if
Someone's going to die.
Probably. Where like if the quarterback is in the pocket and he waits too long to make a complex decision, he will get hit by someone that is a very large, angry person.
They have strategy. I'll give them that, but they don't. But like escape room is part strategy. Also, literally just solving riddles. Like you're not solving a riddle on a football field.
The Chiefs are going to break through the wall. They're going to crack them. They're going to break stuff in the room.
When a quarterback or Travis Kelce looks across the line and they have to determine are they disguising drop coverage for a blitz, or is that safety gonna back up the corner, or is it a 3-4-4-3? That is a moving puzzle, and I don't think the U.S. House of Representatives could solve a table puzzle together.
The Chiefs are going to be angry.
Let us know what you think. Who do you think?
Yeah, the Chiefs are going to be angry. They're going to break the candlestick off the wall. They're gonna just make a hole in the wall and walk out. That's what's going to happen. At least our people will, they'll fight about it, but they want to get out. They want to go home to their luxury vehicles and their Teslas and their mansions and stuff.
I came into this open-minded. I'm going to rule a verdict here. Neither of you convinced me, but I do think the Kansas City Chiefs, I think, would get out more quickly than having 400 largely old white men arguing about.
You're going to get George Santos to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? Like, look what I'm working with over here. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
What are we working with
right.
here?
Next round, we have Ice Spice, and we have San Antonio Spurs rookie Victor Wembanyama. Who would win in a battle of paintball? Common Sense Party, you have Ice Spice. First Baptist Church Colony, you have San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama. The battle is paintball. First Baptist Church Colony, you're up first. Tell us why Victor would be better than Ice Spice at paintball.
I mean,
well, I'm looking at what he looks like right now. I'm pretty sure.
He's 7'6",
he's a big
and he looks
dude.
like Slenderman. He is the tallest.
Yeah, he was Slenderman, right? For Halloween.
Halloween,
What do you think, Emily? You started off.
I was gonna say, like, he's definitely got the height advantage. So like she can't, like, even if she tries to hide, like he can just literally look around and he'll see her. And he is genuine, like his profession is athlete, and like you do have to have some athleticism in paintball. So I feel like he kind of already has the upper hand here, and it just seems like something. And he also seems like the guy. He's not going to lose to Ice Spice. Like he's going to do everything he can to not lose to Ice Spice.
I think that Ice Spice. I think obviously she's super popular and she makes music and she's whatever, but I think that I could just see him like stretching his arm over like where she's hiding and then like shooting her with the paintball. I also feel like Ice Spice is a little clumsy, so I wouldn't be surprised if she trips and just rolls across the ground and he just knocks her with one of those. So I just feel like he just it's just kind of like it's like on Fantastic Four, the guy who stretches, who's just like shooting from I think that would happen here. I think he can't hide and he knows that. But his strengths are he could go farther with his body. I don't know.
Common Sense Party, why would Ice Spice be better?
All right, so I have two rebuttals, and then Jesse, feel free to add to this. Yeah. But first of all, Ice Spice is 5'2", maybe 5'6" or so.
Hide in a lot of places.
Yeah, so she can hide in a lot of places. She's smaller, and he's a bigger target. So yeah, he is taller. He can see over stuff, but also, he poke his head out, he just gets shot. So let's just keep it real in that sense. Bigger target, she's a smaller target, she's faster than him, et cetera, et cetera. But
I don't know that she's faster. Well, his legs are longer than she is.
He can outrun her for sure.
Maybe, but for those of you that don't know, Ice Spice was a star volleyball player.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In high school, yeah, she was a star volleyball player. So she is also an athlete. She's a smaller, more compact athlete, star volleyball player. So I'm not saying she's NBA level, but she's very competitive. And I think with those two things matched, and then Victor is, let's keep it real, he's a young man, a pretty woman. I could definitely see him falling for,
He's gonna fall in love and get shot.
He probably
maybe
will.
not fall in love, but maybe be awestruck if she does that little thing. You know the thing I'm talking about, where she whips her hair or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could work in her favor. She got a lot of stuff going for her. Listen,
she does.
I know young men. We're stupid. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's
I didn't expect this argument. I did not expect
that is unfortunately a pretty good argument to make as well.
Star athlete, smaller star high school athlete playing paintball.
Victor's the type of athlete who he probably gets shot but still keeps walking like he didn't get shot, and just to scare Ice Spice, like he's just that he just keeps she's shooting him.
In other words,
he's just walking to kill her like Slender Man. Yeah.
The other thing too, I call this the Mario Kart. It's a Mario Kart principle. If you're playing Mario Kart, you want to be that little mushroom guy, or you want to be Princess Peach, because they're the smallest. Right? And they're the hardest to hit with those turtle shells. No one wants to be Bowser or Wario. You're a big target out there. The Mario Kart principle applies here. There's more of him to hit.
You guys,
that's a good point.
I was thinking a professional athlite versus a singer.
You convinced me.
You convinced me. Ice Spice will totally win. So
it convinced me. I'll be honest with you, Cam.
Common sense party. All right. That'll do it for the fall edition of Epic Battle.
Epic Battle.
Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Julie Chen Moonves for joining us. Make sure to check out her new memoir. It's called But First God. It's available everywhere. Also, head over to relevantmagazine.com. Every weekday, we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between. Make sure to follow us on all the socials. For an ad-free, unlimited experience, make sure to sign up for Relevant Plus. Plans start as low as $250 a month. And keep an eye out for some new stuff coming your way. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Emily Brown.
I'm Marty.
There you go. We will see you on Friday. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
I'm sorry, but as a Swiftie, I don't mean to be that.
Relevant Podcast Network.